researcher in the topic, and he mainly uses archaeoastronomy as his tool to take verses from the Puranas, the Itihasas, the Vedas, and try and date it back to antiquity and use archaeological techniques. Now, he uses his specific scientific method, which he will show us during the talk, to explain how he really arrives at dates or proves certain things, and it's all scientific methodology. And he will also show you how he uses other sciences like hydrology and cosmology and so many other things to validate, test, and support his findings. He's an author to 3 books available on the Amazon.com website as well as through other channels in India. He is actually living in Atlanta, and thank you Nilesh ji for coming over to Cincinnati for the talk. Thank you.
Can we get this screen on?
Remote, where's the remote from?
Are they here? There are 2 things here.
Yeah, Samsung should be. Should be coming, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you everyone for coming. We will, I'll go for like first 50 minutes to 1 hour, okay? And then we will have lots of questions and answers. I hope that you will ask the questions. I will try to answer, including one well-known answer, which is I don't know. Okay, and that's not a bad start, because when you say I don't know, that's a good grounding, from which we can know a lot. Okay, my part of my idea here in next 50 minutes would be to share some of my personal research work, kind of a generic theme, and to some extent make it interactive, even during the first hour. Okay, that sounds good, right? So take it, if I ask a question or if I make a sarcastic remark, that's just to keep you awake, and so don't take it personally at all. And let's make it somewhat interactive. To some extent, I also want to provoke you, if I can, because otherwise this talk can be boring, But some of the things may surprise you, says, well, I don't believe this is possible, Other things you might say, I know it, and that's great too, So there's a validation of what you already know, and there is some other surprises. So title, you might have heard a different title, what we give, something you have to pick something. Hindu Dharma and science as a religion. So a first question to all of you. Suppose if, religion in a generic sense, okay? So, the reason I mention that is many will tell you, and I completely agree, that Dharma cannot be translated as a religion. Okay? Dharma cannot be translated. Okay? But that's not in some esoteric sense. Okay? And I'm going to give you a couple of definitions of it. But suppose if somebody makes a claim, if you want to make a claim that a Dharma or a system is science. So instead of saying religion as and the conflict of religion with the science, what if science is a religion? What would you expect from that kind of religion? Just a few ideas. You know what to expect from science, right?
Experimentation and proofs.
Yeah, experimentation and proof. That's what we would like to see. If
second point is ever evolving.
very good. Ever evolving.
A search for the truth.
Search for the truth. Anything else?
Based on facts.
Theory and fact.
Yeah, based on facts.
Based on fact. Okay.
Evidence.
Evidence. Very good. Either So okay. In a couple more.
Something useful.
Reasoning.
Something useful.
Something useful. Anything else?
Peer reviewed.
Peer reviewed. Okay. Good one. Good one. Okay. Yeah. So what would that mean is, so in the religion, so the other religions, right, should says, okay, that's true about this. Okay. Very good. Well, actually, I'm done. Okay. Good point.
I think we're using the word Shastra. That's what we're using. For science, we're using Shastra.
Correct. So, yeah, science we are using a Shastra. Again, we use the word in a generic fashion, Jnana. but we also sometimes differentiate as a Vijnana, but sometimes we don't mean much difference between them, as a refined knowledge, realized knowledge.
So it's something that's useful to mankind or any living organisms. We can
Something
make
useful
that.
to mankind, okay, which is again a very good point, which is to say not restricted to a certain group, not restricted.
I don't want even restricted to mankind. Any living organism. It could be a cow or a dog or anything there. Okay.
Yeah, including even inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it will go to. Very good. Actually, guys, I'm done. We can get into questions and answers. Okay. Excellent. So, what it means to be a Hindu anywhere in the world, right? And in a generic context, for example. Let's see. Alright. So, 3 points. If and I'm going to come back to the science as a religion in a minute. If you don't remember anything else, if you can just remember this bullet, that's good enough. Okay? For example, before reading this bullet, if somebody asks you, like people from India, like how old is Indian civilization? How old is, Hindu, Indian, Bharatiya, I'm not stuck on words. How old is the Indian civilization? How old is Hindu civilization? What answer? Be very honest now, okay? We are talking about the facts and evidence and truth, right? You said it. It wasn't me. So what number you would have said at a workplace? Very good, very good. Okay, I don't have brownies, but I'll give you 20 brownie points. Absolutely great answer. No, great answer. How many of you agree that that is the answer you would have 5,000 years? Okay, 5,000 years. Like it's a 5,000-year-old civilization or something like this. I don't blame you for answering that.
I have candies for the right answer.
Very good. I won't blame you for that, but I will also say it is an extremely lazy answer. It's a very lazy answer. And why is that?
So there are two perspectives in this one. Like one is like Western Indologists, whom we consider as authentic, and ignoring the Indian traditional things, because we go with the yugas, Mahayugas, and Manvantaras, and so on. So when we call about the history is considered with proven artifacts are available.
Whatever that is documented.
Correct. But this 5,000 is not even the number of Western Indologists. Okay, so I'll come back to that in a minute. But that 5,000 is a very lazy number. That's what I want to say.
The traditional belief is
Yeah.
Anadi Ananda.
Excellent. Okay, so that's a good one, and that's what he's kind of referring to, right? The Manvantara and all that, and of course beyond. Okay, so that's one side. What would be the Western Indologist number? So 5,000 is our number, I can say. Any average Indian will say 5,000.
3,500.
3,500, 1500 BC, some magic happened. Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, so yeah, understand this number. So 1500, 3,500 is a dogmatic number. I'll talk about that. 5,000 years that we tell with a pride is a lazy number. Okay, so I'm going to show you evidence, and again remember, this is, this cannot, I'm searching this for 30 years, 30 years. There are many other researchers, their work also I'm presenting in a fashion that cannot be done in 1 hour, the whole thing. So think of this as a movie trailer, okay? Just giving you enough bites to go on your own and explore more. I'm going to show you evidence here though, for at least the 24,000 plus. There is a evidence, empirical evidence, scientific evidence, okay, from multiple disciplines that can take you to at least 24,000 years. My point is, next, if you are convinced at the end of this 1 hour, next time somebody asks you, so you are from India, how old is this Indian civilization? Okay, and if you say 5,000 years, as soon as you get a chance, slap yourself. Okay, you should, if you are convinced, otherwise no. If you are convinced, you should be able to say 24,000 years, okay? Not to discount Anadi, Adi, and Manvantara and so on, okay? Because, I'll come to that, so we may not have a empirical evidence for that. That doesn't mean it's not true, we just don't have empirical evidence. The second point, this is again about the civilization, the Dharma, based on, we said that if science is a religion, if that is my claim or that is our claim, then it must
We have empirical evidence.
Absolutely.
What we don't have is, we don't have archaeological evidence.
Well, okay, we'll talk about that maybe in the question and answer, okay?
Empirical is there. The numbers are given precise number, even how long it has been.
Okay, we will come to that. So that's a great one. So what he's saying is in our narratives, ancient Indian narratives, Itihasi, whatever, right? Puranas.
All those kinds of-
Correct. So the number is given. We'll come back to that. And see where the gap is. So it has to be founded on scientific acumen, and somebody said logical reasoning. Reasoning, okay? You can come and bring a chair here. Reasoning. I mean, it's guys, okay? Okay. I'll ask you to stand at the end, okay? So that everyone sees you. Great job. Okay? And the third one is the ancient tradition of that what he's referring to of ascertainment via rational criticism, which is what we expect in science. The science has progressed by criticism of the existing theory, okay, and its falsification of that theory, and it's not considered a bad thing. Okay, the falsification of an existing successful theory is a moment for celebration because our knowledge has grown. Okay, and you'll see that here, some of it. Okay, let's look at the first part. This is quick summary of my 30 years of my work. Some of the evidence, as Ramaji mentioned, my work mostly focused, at least initially, it was focused on archaeoastronomy. That's how I started. I started with the one verse from Mahabharata. Over time, it has grown into many other things. Now, I don't conduct any original genetics work, but I analyze every single genetic papers that come out, and that's true for archaeology, that's true for geology, and every other field. Quickly, that's a time axis. The today is, think of that as a 21st century. 0 is because of our calendar, like AD, C, like a time of Jesus. Okay, and let's not get stuck on Jesus. Was he there? Where was he exactly born? Whether he is exactly born then or not, that is a reference point that we are using, right? We had that thing 2 days ago at Purdue. He says, but are we so sure? I said, what year you were born? And the person said 1991. I say, okay, what are you saying? You feel so confident about your birth year, so you are assuming a reference point. So let's go with that. If you go backwards, minus 5k, that's minus 5,000, so 5,000 BC, 10,000 BC. Everyone with me? 15,000 BC and so on. Against this, my first work was what I did is I looked at every single astronomy observation I could find, astronomy description from the Mahabharata text. The Mahabharata text is huge, so it's quite possible I might have still missed some. So therefore I say I have 300 plus astronomy observation. In fact, in 2011, I wrote down 215 plus because that's what I found. Then some other people said, oh come on, this is not correct, how about this, how about this. So every time somebody asks a question, I go back to Mahabharata, start reading again, and I find something more. So between 2011 to 2018, now I found close to 85 additional observations. So now it stands at 300 plus. So I looked at 300 plus astronomy observation, and I'll give you a brief highlight how I did it. How many of you have seen my YouTube videos before? Okay. Alright, so that's 5, 6, 7 numbers. What's wrong with others? Alright, just kidding guys. Okay. So based on that evidence, think of this as a jigsaw puzzle. Try to put the pieces together, and I'll show some demonstration of it. I came at this 5561 BCE as the year of Mahabharata war. Interestingly, when I say interestingly, if you have heard the name Dr. P.V. Vartak, he had come up with this number in as early as 1980. So it's not like I started anew, but I'll tell you what I found new, what is my contribution. And in that particular time period, so if there is anything I want to claim original beginning, I was the first one to claim a specific time period in a scientific fashion. Definitely Mahabharata war did not happen after this date. Definitely Mahabharata war did not happen before this date. And within that span, there were 4 or 5 claims, existing claims of other researchers, including P.V. Vartak. And so I went started testing theirs. I could disqualify or falsify others. I could not falsify the claim of P.V. Vartak. So that's how that 5561.
You say Mahabharata, Mahabharata war or the Mahabharata talking about?
Mahabharata war. So exactly the year of the war, and by the way, so today, being the 20th of October, is we are celebrating here. That's how you may not know this, but we are here to celebrate the 7,580th anniversary of the 4th day of the Mahabharata war. Okay, so 16 October, 17 October, 18 October, I mean, whatever, 5, 4 or 5, whatever the number comes. Okay, so 20. He showed me 4 fingers, so I said, okay, 17, 18, 19, 20, 5th day, sorry. Now, once I did this, some people said, well, is this possible for Ramayana? So I also asked other researchers, have you done anything? And in case of Mahabharata, there are many more efforts in comparison to Ramayana. Ramayana, there are maybe dozen or so. Okay, so I then looked same method. I started reading Valmiki Ramayana, and lo and behold, see, Valmiki Ramayana is much smaller in comparison to Mahabharata, like 1/5 or 1/4, like 24,000 verses. Interestingly, that was a surprise to me. I found close to 600 specific astronomy observations. Okay, those of you, and many people don't read Mahabharata because it's long, but many people do read Valmiki Ramayana. I know many who do the Pathan of a Sundarkand, that's very, very common. Okay, Sundarkand has lots of astronomy references. Uttarakhand, every single Kand, including Uttarakhand, has references, close to 600. When again I put that in a jigsaw puzzle fashion, it took me to that year, 12,209. Now that is the year for Ram Ravana Yuddha. Okay, the specific war year. Then this is like coming down to now 2016, and one professor from here, of Indian origin, he said, have you used this approach to Rigveda? So this is early 2016. So I said, I mean, I knew Rigveda, but I had not necessarily read it, I will admit, So I started with it, of course, with the translation and multiple translations, so Satavarekar and so many other translations, English translation. And what I found is there is astronomy description, there is some astronomy evidence, but at least I did not find any astronomy evidence that allows you to nail down the timing. Because those are kind of a generic, like Ashwini or rising, heliacal rising of Ashwini. But heliacal rising of Ashwini happens every year, depending on the which time. So I wasn't finding anything to nail it down. Fortunately, this Saraswati, reverse Saraswati research was really picking up. And if you think it just picked up in the last 10 years, that's not true. Saraswati research is happening for 100 years, 100 plus years. So like Wakankar going back to mid-1950s and so. But people are not paying attention to the kind of research that is being done. In fact, even 100, 200 years ago,